First of all, Mr. President, I want to thank you for everything you're doing, what you're putting up with. You know, as a Jew, these attacks, Hitler and all the rest, it is really disgusting. But let me ask you this. Why is Kamala angry, so unhinged? Why is she so angry, lashing out, smearing tens of millions of patriotic Americans, Biden calling them garbage, she's calling them neo-Nazis? Do they really expect to attract voters when they treat the American people this way?
Well, she treated her staff that way, and her staff was, 95% of her staff left her. And as VP, it was a horror show. And when she was Attorney General, same thing. She made people stand at attention when she walked into the room. And look, she's a horrible person, okay? She's a horrible person. And, the fact that she's getting away with this whole thing is amazing. And the fact that it's even close. I mean, you listen to her policies, this country would be finished. If she gets in, the country is finished, and you know what else is finished? Israel's finished, okay? Mm-hmm. It's finished. It's incredible when you watch what's happening. And you're right. I watched her speech last night. She goes, they want to arrest us. They want to come in. He wants to come in and arrest us. He's going to go after this or that. I said, that's what they're doing to me.
Exactly.
For 3 years, that's what they've been doing to me. And it's like incredible. It's almost like, what is she saying? So she's screaming last night about being arrested. And that's not me. That's what they're doing to me. They always do the opposite. It's like amazing. Then they do ads talking about the exact opposite that I want. In other words, like fertilization, IVF. She says, he won't allow IVF. And I'm the one that did allow it, 100%. He will destroy Social Security. He wants to close Social Security down. He wants to close let's say Obamacare. He wants to close it down. He's told everybody he wants to close it down. Then he goes to Project 2025, right? Which is done by people I have no idea who they are. Other than some did work for me, but they should never have done a thing like that. But normally you'd say, no, I have nothing to do with that. That would be the end. They act as though I wrote it. These people are just very, very bad. I think very dangerous people, actually.
Yeah. Running a very hateful campaign, as you've pointed out. The campaign, $1.2 billion in lies to the American people, to women, to minorities, to anybody who will listen. There's a level of desperation that I have never seen in a campaign before. But tell the audience why they ought to vote for you. We want to get them out. We want them to vote. We want them to get their friends and their family out. So there's a massive, overwhelming number of votes for Donald Trump.
Well, it's about two things. It's about the border and the economy. And the border there's nobody like me on the border. That I can tell you. Border Patrol, as you know, gave us the endorsement for about the 10th year in a row. They love Trump, and they get it. And they said she's the worst ever. I mean, they gave this to us last week, and it's not easy for them to say. They say there's never been anybody so bad. She was in charge of the border for 4 years. She never once called them. She never once went there. She went to a part of the border that had nothing to do with what we're talking about, with, people coming in that are murderers and drug dealers and out of prisons. The world is dumping their prisons into the U.S., and terrorists are coming in at record numbers. The whole thing is crazy. And it's like an open border policy, and now they're flying them in because they don't want to get caught at the border. They're trying to be a little tougher the last 2 months, right? But they forgot about the planes. The planes took in 500,000 people, and they forgot to tell the pilots, excuse me, don't fly. These are very dishonest people. They're very, very bad people. And the other day, as you know, he called us garbage. He said the Trump people are garbage. All the people,
yeah, right.
This is Biden. Now, I guess he gets a pass because he's out of it. He's been out of it for years. He was out of it 30 years ago. You know that, so do I. But it's really terrible. The other thing is the economy and inflation. The economy is terrible, and it's been made terrible by inflation. Inflation people could get a raise, but they're way behind the eight ball. They're going into their savings. Businesses aren't working. Taxes are too high now. She wants to raise taxes 50-60% on people and get rid of our tax cut. It would be the biggest tax increase ever. But I'm going to bring the companies back through the use of tariffs. And she goes out and says, I want to do a sales tax. A tariff is not a sales tax. A tariff is paid for by the country. It's not paid for by us. And by the way, it's going to ultimately bring down prices, way down. I think it's the most beautiful word in the dictionary, the word tariff. It's going to make this country rich. And by the way, without it, we could never be rich again. We could never, ever be rich again.
You know, Mr. President, the fact is you used tariffs in your first 4 years. You slashed taxes like nobody before. You ran the economy. It was a tremendous economy. Then we have the pandemic. They come in and what do? They spend trillions of dollars beyond the pandemic money, massive debt, massive deficit. Not a single Republican voted for the phony Inflation Act. She was the tie-breaking vote. So how is it possible for the person who burned down the economy to put the fire out? I've never understood this. Isn't this why she talks as marble mouth when she's asked what she's going to do about the economy?
She has no idea about the economy. She was saying she's going to raise prices on corporations, big corporations. Mark, they're going to leave. You know, they leave. They go to other places. They don't care. Half of them they're from other locations, other countries. You know, they're international business people, big people. They run these big companies. A lot of them aren't American. They couldn't care less. They'd rather move. And all she's doing is driving out companies when she did. And there go the jobs. There goes everything. No, it's absolutely, she has no understanding of business and never has had. That's why you ask her a question on business, she starts talking about her front lawn. It's actually amazing. Look, I'm running because I want to make America great again. We did it. We had the greatest economy in history. We had the strongest border in history. We had everything the best, everything. Every income group, every group, men, women, black, white, Asian, Hispanic. I mean, they've done so well. Everybody has done well. But we're really against like this fake group of people. I've never Hillary Clinton was very much a scoundrel. Okay, but she wasn't as bad as these people. These people take ads, and they say exactly the opposite. They said the other day that I will not frack. Okay, fracking. They said he is going to end fracking. My whole life, I love fracking and drilling. My whole life, they said I have decided I will never frack. I will not frack. And they take ads, and you say, "Can I sue?" You go to a lawyer. Can I sue on a campaign ad? It's the most disgusting campaign I've ever seen. And then she gets up last night. She has a fake crowd brought in by buses, just like she had with Beyonce. She said Beyonce's going to sing. I'm no fan of Beyonce, but Beyonce's going to sing. Big deal. And she gets some people to go. And then Beyonce gets up and doesn't sing. She says something for a minute and she leaves. And the crowd boos the hell out of her and leaves. And she's speaking and everybody's leaving. It's all fake. It's all fake. And get used to it, because if she ever won, I know you well. You're the greatest. If she ever won, I don't think you could handle it. I really don't. I don't think you could handle it.
Well, I think I'd be audited. Talk about going to jail. I mean, look, they're the ones that have already put people in jail. Yeah. Bannon, Navarro, they want to put you in jail. Nobody's threatened with jail on the other side. Let me ask you this.
Isn't it amazing, though, how they talk about that? I want to put people in jail.
Yeah, I know.
I could have put Hillary Clinton in jail. I could have put her in jail. I thought it was terrible. The wife of a president and a secretary of state, you put her in jail. It's really amazing. It's really amazing.
And it is amazing
it's like
because
a whole big con job.
You haven't decided yet, I guess, but you've talked about possibly you'd look at pardoning Hunter. But see, I know you. I know you really don't want to get into these fights. You really don't. You want to do stuff. You want to get stuff done. You're a developer. You built the skyline in New York. That's the way you are. Let's go forward. You wake up every morning. Let's go forward. Let's do. It's not all this negativity, and they drag the whole country into their whole mindset, into their whole kind of sick psychology. Let me ask you this. She talks about the border. She lost 325,000 kids. How many tens of thousands of women have been sold into sex slavery? She doesn't say a thing about them. You've had these poor parents who've lost these kids under the most horrific circumstances. She doesn't pick up the phone and call them. I think she has ice water for blood in her veins. She talks about the middle class and all that. Well, what does she do? What does she say?
She talks about things, and sometimes she doesn't know what she's talking about. She goes, look, when I saw what 60 Minutes did with that question, they asked her a question, and she gave a horrible answer. Really, it would show she's a dumb person, very dumb. And they took that answer out, and they replaced it with another answer that was much better. Now, think of that. That's not editing. They tried to say, yeah, this was a minor edit. No, they asked her a main question, and she gave a terrible, ridiculous, rambling, horrible answer, and they took it out, and they replaced it with a different answer, totally different. That is the worst thing I've ever seen in broadcasting. This, and we're talking about 2 weeks at that time before the election, and everybody's listening, everybody's watching, and they were watching a different program. Nobody's ever done that. I think it's the biggest scandal in broadcast history, and yet the fake news doesn't want to even talk about it. They don't want to. Could you imagine if they did that for me and they got caught?
No,
First of all, they wouldn't do it for me. They wouldn't do it. We don't have to worry about it. They wouldn't do it. They do the opposite. They take my answer and they make it smaller. They want to make it look a little bit more disjointed, whatever they can do to do it. But the whole thing, and the press is a part of it, Mark, because, look, the press knows what's going on. The only thing I don't understand is why would the press want to have open borders, men playing in women's sports, everybody go become transgender, let the world become transgender?
Because they're left-wing Democrats.
Why would they want that? Yeah, well, someday you're going to have to explain that.
They're party
business,
people.
I can always figure out my opponent. Why does he want something, or why does he or she want something? You can sort of figure it out, but you say, why do they want to have open borders? Why do they want to destroy the country? Why do they want to do all these things that are so destructive? Mm-hmm. Make a woke military. And they would like to do that, by the way.
Well, herein is the big difference between you and them. You love the country, and they obviously don't. They love the country. They wouldn't conduct themselves this way. And isn't that reason you want the people to vote now? Everybody who loves the country, we don't always have to agree, but you love the country. You want the country to exist, secure the borders, a thriving economy, a strong military. That's what you stand for. So in your closing comment here, Mr. President, what is it that you want the people to do over the course of the next 4 days, and certainly on Election Day? You want them to vote. And what do we need to say beyond?
I want them to go out and vote. Yeah, I want them to go out and vote like they've never voted before. We have to beat this horrible spell that we're in with these people. We went through 4 years of an incompetent president, a dumb man, a very dumb man, a man that should have not let Ukraine happen, not let Israel October 7th happen, a man that shouldn't have had inflation. He caused inflation with his energy situation. We would have never had inflation. I had no inflation. I had the best economy in the history of our country with no inflation. Think of that. And what they did is they screwed up the energy policy, which was hard to do. We had it so perfect. We got Anwar in Alaska, as big as Saudi Arabia, they say, and he closed it. Every president since Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan in particular, wanted to get it. Nobody got it. I got it. We could have paid off national debt. We could have done things that you wouldn't believe. Look, they're really a very, very bad group of people. I really believe it. They're a bad group of people. We got to get them out of office. They're sick. They're going to kill our country. We can't go through another 4 years. We can't go through another year like this, Mark. So I say go out and vote and be proud, and we will turn this country around so fast. We're going to lower your energy prices. We're going to cut them in half. That's going to bring everything else down, because don't forget, they had inflation, but, I had no inflation. I had less than, really the right number is less than 1%. They had they had the biggest inflation in the history of our country. And no matter how well you did, the inflation ate you alive. Inflation is a country buster. It was for Germany years ago. Any country that suffers great inflation is busted. And we've gone through it, and it hasn't stopped. By the way, it has not stopped. But they also haven't done anything about the cost of groceries. Everything has cost too much. We're going to get interest rates down, and we are going to bring numbers down because of energy. We have more energy than any other country, more than Saudi Arabia, more than Russia, more than anybody. I call it liquid gold. We're going to bring your energy prices down within less than a year from the time I take office. And when that happens, everything else is going to come down. And we're going to get back to business. The other thing, we have to stop murderers, criminals, terrorists. Every name the crime, we got them, and they're all being poured into our country. Prisons from all over the world are being emptied out. Think of this. The prisons from all over the world being emptied out and deposited in our country. They're sending their prisoners from all over the world. The Congo, I don't know what's going on with the Congo, but a lot of people are coming in from
Civil
Africa,
War.
and they're pouring in. They're pouring into our country like water. It's unbelievable, and it's going to be really bad, and we have to get them out, Mark. We're going to take them out. We have no choice. I don't want to do it. We've got to get them out.
Amen. And let me just close with this. You respect all the American people. You haven't called their supporters Hitler and garbage. In fact, you're trying to win their supporters over. You're going to communities that never vote Republican, and you've been doing this for the whole campaign. You don't call them names and so forth like she does. And so it's very, very important in America that we vote and we elect this man in the Senate and the House so we can save our country, our lifestyle, and our freedom. President Trump, I want to thank you for everything. And please, God, stay safe out there as best as you can.
I will. Thank you very much, Mark. And you really have a big voice. You have a very, very important voice. And keep it going. Keep it going for a long time.
We will. We're with you. Take care of yourself. All right.
Thank you very much.